question is, Bill 60 a way forward or a step backwards for Quebec? And you know, it's a bit of a trick question because I don't remember our past ever being like what is being proposed in this bill. So we're certainly not going forward. And if being a progressive society is forward, this is anything but progressive. And backwards, I have a lot of difficulty with that because we live in a pluralistic society. We've always celebrated diversity. We've been built by successive waves of immigration. And of course, the face and nature of immigration has changed over the years, but that's normal and natural. And all of North America and Europe as well has lived different waves of immigration. So I think it's taking us to a place that not many of us feel comfortable with. And it's not unanimous by any means. Obviously, the polls are showing that some people appreciate where this is going, but we have to know why. And we have to understand what it is people are really seeking. And I don't think we can denigrate anybody that has a different opinion than, certainly I don't, because I've been in this debate for a long time. I've had many discussions with people. And immigration generally has a tendency to raise these kinds of questions. But as I said before, what's upsetting is that we're changing our very sort of positive, constructive view about diversity, when most other societies in North America, all of them, are going in an opposite direction. And I think the best ad campaign I've seen is the one in Ontario. We don't care what's on your head, but what's in your head. It said it all. It said it all. And I've met, doctors, brilliant scientists. I've met engineers, many of them women. And yes, and my kids have studied with women who do wear, and it's all about women, isn't it? Really, seems like everybody else is collateral damage. And so it's this woman wearing the hijab, and it's just like it's so brilliant and intelligent. I'm so impressed. And of course, my kids have all grown up in this kind of diversity. Young people don't even see it. They see the person. They hear the reflection, and are very happy to have this diversity. So the genesis, Bouchard-Taylor. Bouchard-Taylor, as you all recall, there were a number of incidents that didn't involve immigration. It involved, whenever people start pointing at immigration, I tell them, look, the Jewish community has been here for hundreds of years. The Hasidic community, they're not immigrants. So they've got to stop denigrating immigration. It's all about diversity. So there was a number, and a lot of media attention, obviously, to a lot of these cases. So our government created the Bouchard-Taylor Commission. And one of the most important comments they made is, there are no problems. There's media that talks about problems, but on the ground, in terms of the number of cases we have, there are no problems. The Human Rights Commission says the same thing. There are no problems. And recently, around Bill 60, you've heard that over and over again. The association that represents all the health establishments, there are no problems. So that's a constat that we've had, a comment and an observation since 2006, but there were real comments about integration into the workforce, real serious problems about that. Engineers, brilliant engineers driving taxis. And this is the image that frustrated everybody. And this is something to fight for, is their integration. So after the Bouchard-Taylor Commission, what did our government do? Then, and you have to understand, there's been this discourse of we did nothing, and the PQ kept coming back with, we did nothing, we've done nothing over the years. So we did a lot of things. We created, and I think it was one of the best things we did, is a service conseil. It's an advisory capacity at the Human Rights Commission, so that any employer, because employers, what was happening is employers, part of the discrimination or the discriminatory effect was that employers were a little worried if they saw, a name that didn't resonate as a Quebec name, they just wouldn't bother because, well, and the argument was, am I going to be faced with unreasonable requests for accommodation, prayer time, prayer rooms, etc. So what the Human Rights Commission in discussion with them said, the best thing is to be able to guide employers, and you give them security, that the decision they're making is reasonable. Because really, what do employers want? They want stability. They want to make sure they're making the right decision. They don't want to be accused of being discriminatory in their practices. So since we created that Service Conseil, they said they have no problems, really no problems. They've been able to stabilize the milieu. And you know, the whole notion of reasonable accommodation, I think probably most of you understand what it is. It's just essentially where you accommodate a person who has a request, and it's always in a labor, it all comes from the area of law that's labor law, so that you don't have a discriminatory impact on the person who will be excluded from working there if you don't recognize certain needs that they have to respect certain rights they have. And the whole body of law started out with people with handicaps, and most of the body of law comes from there, but in the more recent years, many more requests for religious accommodation. And the Human Rights Commission likes to point out that really for years it was more Christians that were asking for accommodations than Muslims. So that's an interesting fact, that all sorts of different kinds of requests. So they gave some advice on things to do. That was one of them. The other one they gave, so one of the things that we followed up on was working with professional orders to make sure that professional orders could recognize the competencies and the qualifications of immigrants. And when I was minister, and my predecessor, Yolande James, who both worked very hard on this file, and we signed about 40-some agreements between the two of us, with over 30 professional orders for 60 different projects, to be able to very concretely have programs to help integrate, give them des cours de formation, so that they could just do some studies in CJET's university to get themselves up to par. And this is where governments have to be putting all of their energy.